I'm Caro, and I'm calling in from Boston, and I'm pulling up to the Wolf and Unicorn podcast to talk about immigration, a subject that I'm super passionate about. We're going to chat about what organizations you can donate to, what you can do if you want to do something about immigration issues, especially helping out undocumented folks. And we're going to talk about how we're going to get Kevin to stop ordering Amazon. Join us.
Yo. Yadi, what's up?
Hi there. I'm working on my intro like, hello, how's it going?
You still haven't quite figured it out yet, right?
I don't know what I'm doing yet.
But today's your practice day. You're going to introduce our guest and let us know who we have today.
Yes, so we have a very special guest today. As you all know, all of our guests are very special.
Okay.
We have Caro Santamaria joining us today. Hey, Caro.
Hello.
How is it going? How are you?
So good. So great. I'm out here in Boston, just chilling on my vacation, but very excited to talk with y'all about our topic today.
Yeah, so what are you doing? What are you working on? Tell us a little about yourself and what you've got going on.
Yeah, so right now I'm just I am a nonprofit professional. Mm-hmm. I work at an organization called Corporate Accountability, and we challenge transnational corporations on human rights, public health, and environmental abuses. So we do a lot of work with like the human right to water. We do a lot of work in the climate space, kicking out the fossil fuel industry from decision-making places. So a lot of activism that goes from grassroots to the international stage, which is great. And I do our recruitment work. But in general, I am very, very passionate about immigration. So I spend a lot of my outside time either organizing with different immigration groups or just in general researching. I wrote like my college thesis on labor exploitation of immigrants. So it's just a topic I'm super passionate about, and I'm hoping that the next step is to work for an immigrants' right organization. And in general, what do I spend my time doing? I don't know. I do a lot of tarot readings. I've been like getting really into those, working on like my spirituality during this time that we're all sort of enclosed and really self-reflective. So yeah, that's mostly what I fill my time with. Just organizing and reading and tarot reading.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, you have such like a busy life, and like the work that you do is very taxing. So like I always enjoy when I see you, either whether it's like exercising or like picking up embroidery. Like I saw you doing some stuff.
Oh,
and I was like, hey, you need to do our hoodies next time.
Yeah,
What'd you do?
She does like the embroidery, so she can do like logo. Obviously, like our logo is very complicated.
Yeah, can you do 100 of those?
It will take like a year to be able to make like one sweatshirt, but worth it.
So yeah, I mean, we are family. So we are, like married family. We're basically cousins. You are
I'll call you my cousin.
Yeah, no. Like I always say, like she's my cousin. Yeah. But it's just been so inspiring to watch you and to learn about what you're doing. So I wanted to just kind of bring you on so you can talk to our listeners and just have explain to us a little bit more about the work that you're doing and like why it's so important and how everyone can contribute to that work, whether they're just, in the backstage or how they can organize without being completely like exposed, because a lot of this stuff is very, dangerous work. So we just wanted to like bring you on so you can give us a better understanding, because when people hear the word immigration, it's like there's so many little things, so many branches that go into that, and like you never really know where to start or how to help. So we just wanted to like bring the expert. So maybe you can like talk to everybody and just give us a little insight on like what you're doing and how we can help.
Totally. Yeah. I'm very grateful that y'all are giving me this platform. I am definitely by no means an expert, but definitely something that both touches like on my personal experience having immigrated here myself, and like most of my family being immigrants as well. I think it's something that a lot of us have in common. And it's an issue that, really affects your ability to do anything in this country. So it's been, I think it's a topic that, like you said, brings up a bunch of different aspects, but at the end of the day, it's about human beings being able to live a life without restraint, to live a life where they can actually, exercise their rights. So I think I'm really excited to like provide just some information on what's going on right now in terms of like how we can help undocumented folks. And I'll mostly be talking about undocumented folks because that's really the like part of immigration that I'm very passionate about is how we are, I mean, truly how we treat other human beings in this country, which is not very great, as we all know the history of this place. But yeah, I think, just starting out with the ways in which the US has unfortunately not necessarily shown up for undocumented folks, and especially like low income undocumented folks right now during the COVID-19 crisis. I think we know that these are the folks that are the reason that we have food on our table. They're the reason that we're able to function the way that we do. They're undocumented folks are everywhere, and one of my big passions is to paint undocumented folks as folks that are not like we're not sob stories. We are people, human beings, just trying to live our life. And especially, I come from a family where we have folks that are undocumented, so just being able to see people freely leave their homes without fear, and for folks to be able to drive, like have licenses. Right now in Massachusetts, I'm not sure if it passed or not, but there's this really great group called Cosecha that was fighting for licenses for undocumented folks. And I'm not sure if it passed or not. I'll have to double check on that. But if that campaign is still going on, that's a really great one to support. Because even the ability to drive down to the grocery store, the ability to take your kids to school, I mean, it's something that for a lot of undocumented folks, it's like daunting to be like, I have to leave my house today. What if I get stopped at a traffic light? Or like, what if like anything feels like a risk, essentially. And then also undocumented folks are either like massively laid off right now or working under really dangerous conditions because a lot of employers exploit the fact that they know that folks are undocumented, so they'll have them work for less wages than a normal worker will, and they'll have them work under circumstances that are not safe for anybody, and especially for those folks who unfortunately can't say anything because of their immigration status.
Right. I feel like the COVID-19 pandemic issues we're having now, I mean, kind of overshadowed the issue because I feel like we were on the brink of, kids were in cages and, we were like, people were getting, information poured into this. And now I feel like I don't hear anything. I know these kids are not all free. I know they're not, I just don't see the information because of the pandemic. And
Totally.
Where can we find this information? Like if we wanted to help out, I mean, usually I just look at the news and see what's going on, and now I don't see anything about issues that we were talking about before this, and obviously they're still going on and probably amplified because of COVID-19. So, like, how do we kind of stay informed and in the loop on these kind of topics?
Yeah, that's a great question. So many organizations have their own, like they have blogs where they will repost a lot of news articles that do involve a lot of these issues that were happening before. I mean, I feel like the first thing, first of all, is the Trump administration is so chaotic, but they're chaotic on purpose. They want to bury a lot of the worst policies that they've passed, and just like have them fly under the radar, which is exactly what has happened. And I think also to say that, unfortunately, we've had this issue of children being separated from their families and being put in detention centers, both in the Trump administration, unfortunately in the Obama administration. It's been just an ongoing policy of the US government to unfortunately separate folks from their families. And I think it even which totally lines up with just the legacy of how the US has treated just human beings here. I mean, family separation began in slavery. It began a really long time ago, these policies of dehumanizing people and thinking that they're not worthy of, living a life with families, with kids. So I think it first really starts with examining where our country has come from and why it is the way that it is right now. And like a good place where I sort of go and get my news a lot is there's this program on YouTube called Democracy Now. It's definitely more left leaning news, but unfortunately, that's the people who are talking about, families still being separated from their children. The National Immigration Law Center is also a great website to get a lot of your information from, to get a lot of like the latest that's happening on the immigration front. My aunt is their executive director, and they represent a lot of low income, undocumented folks. And they were some of the folks that put up the initial legal suits against the Trump administration when they began like the even larger mass policy of separating folks at the border. So that's a really great place, I think, to also, check out their blog, check out their press releases. They're really on the pulse of a lot of the issues that are truly ongoing. Another big issue that I think a lot too is, the ways in which asylum seekers have been treated at the border currently. A lot of this family separation is happening at the U.S.-Mexico border. And there's this policy that the Trump administration passed called Remain in Mexico, where usually when you're seeking asylum, you're able to enter the US and wait for your date in court. The rate for folks to show up to their court dates is huge. I mean, you're seeking asylum, you are going to be able to legally stay in the US. And usually, I mean, it's even very difficult to get a court date given to you. Most people are rejected. But what the Trump administration has now done is now when you're applying for asylum, you are left behind. You have to stay in Mexico until your date in court. And typically these are like in really dangerous places. These are folks that have come with whatever they could carry with them. And it's, we've created essentially a refugee crisis at our in our own border. And there's this really great podcast episode. Have y'all listened to This American Life?
I have not.
No.
So it's this really, they do like investigative journalism, and there's a really great episode that I encourage everybody to listen to because I think it's incredibly important that we're aware of what's happening and what our country is doing and what people who think they're doing good things are doing. It's called, so I forget what it's called. It's called their Pulitzer Prize winning episode. It's the only Pulitzer Prize winning episode that they have. And it's about the Remain in Mexico policy. And I mean, it's incredible how even like these border agents are like, you see them in the audio, like slowly becoming aware of like, holy shit, like I am doing, sorry, I don't know if y'all are like,
more than fine. Good.
But a lot of the agents were like realizing they're like, oh, this is how you get good people to do bad things. Like, oh, this is how, like, these policies that are passed down that are being like put forth by superiors and the rules have to be followed. They're like, oh, this is how you get someone that's just coming in to do their job to turn someone away that's like has credible fear of fleeing. And you're like, actually, you should stay in where like a lot of the times a lot of the persecution is happening at the border because they're in places where people know that these are folks seeking refuge in the US. A lot of them get extorted for money. They know that they have relatives in the US, so they'll be like, really, really terrible things happen to folks. And really terrible things are happening to folks because they're vulnerable, and these are people that are leaving like situations that so many of us can't even imagine. And even if it's you're looking for a job opportunity, who cares? You're allowed to like have the self-autonomy to resettle somewhere where you think you have more opportunities, where you think your families have more opportunities. So I would say listen to that episode. It's really good. And there's other places. I think United We Dream is another great organization that again is like churning out a lot of information about what's currently happening, what are the plans to reunite children right now. But yeah, it's just like, I mean, right now it's chaotic because there really is a lot happening. We have children still in cages. We have children that are separated from their parents. We have a refugee crisis at our US border. It's a lot. And you're right. I think a lot of the pandemic has unfortunately taken front and stage, and we've forgotten that
Right.
there are kids who don't have their parents with them right now.
Right. Right.
That's a lot of information. I'm just like, I'm just consuming all of it, and it's just like, I mean, we know it's happening, and of course, you know, you hear things here and there, but after we do all this research and after we look into it and after we become aware, how can we become involved, and like what can we do?
That's a great question. And I think that's something that so many of us are seeking right now, especially because we're at home and we're like, what can we use our extra time for? I definitely think if you have the ability and the means to, I think donating, especially donating to a lot of the organizations that are at the border, which I can send a list out and y'all can like list it if you want.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good organizations doing a lot of great work, like even just providing food in these refugee camps and providing. There's some organizations that actually provide like not like knapsacks where they have like water and food and beverages and they leave them in the desert when folks are like making that crossing. So leaving like supplies and resources. So if you're able to donate, I think that is something that like anybody can do. But beyond that, there's a lot of petitions that are going around as well. I think right now there's like a lot of immigration organizations are sort of like under constant alert because new policies keep on being enacted. So like any petition that is going out right now, I will be happy to like also link it.
Right.
Writing to folks in detention centers is actually something that is, I think it's, it's so underrated, the power of like the written word and the power of like connecting with other human beings. But there are other organizations as well. Again, there's so many folks doing really great things out there, where you can write to folks that are in detention centers. You can write letters to kids that are in detention centers to make them feel a little bit less lonely and, to make them feel like even though they're being treated this way by folks in the country, that not all of us feel that way, and that there are people that are actually, concerned and horrified at the human rights abuses that are happening right now at the hands of the U.S. government.
And do you think with the new administration coming in, will there be a huge change? I know some people don't believe Biden will be as different, more different than Trump is today. I mean, obviously he will be at least a little different in terms of appeasing people. But do you think the actual change will come to this, and this new administration will kind of enforce some of these new rules that we would like to see made?
Yeah, I hope so. I really, I mean, and the only thing we can really do is like hope and push them to. I think that they're going to be, the bar is set really low right now, right? Like we're leaving from this Trump presidency and like literally anything feels like, oh my God, I cannot believe we have a president that actually cares. Like that's how I feel every time like I hear like the new administration talk. I'm like, wow, that's like what a like normal human being that's doing their job sounds like. I'm definitely skeptical. I definitely think that a lot of us in the immigration justice like movement feel always concerned, feel a little bit burned by the past I mean, even like under the Obama administration, although we were able to pass like historic legislation with DACA, other policies didn't pass because they didn't cut it for like the more center moderate agenda that even Democrats have. I think that a lot of Democrats are more supportive of maybe like corporations and money than they are of people. That's why I lean very progressive, but I definitely consider myself an independent, just because it's difficult to trust a government that has broken your trust over and over.
Right.
So my hope is that I think it'll be slightly better. I think that we might be able to move the Biden administration to actually pass policy proposals that, aim to fix our broken immigration system. I do think one of the things that actually has been uplifting me a lot more is knowing that they're actually in conversations with a lot of immigrants' rights organizations. They've definitely been consulting a lot. They've been talking to organizers, which is important. I think the government should constantly be talking to folks in movements and should be talking to folks that are actually doing the work for the communities.
Right.
So I mean, I have hope, but I definitely think that it's up to us as a collective to push the administration to ask, extend TPS, the temporary protected status, not even just extend TPS, grant folks citizenship. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
really like, it's as simple as, these are folks that have been paying over and over for protection, and these things cost money. You
Right.
have to be like, you have to be able to, like, for example, dreamers like DACA, you have to pay for DACA. It's like $400 every 2 years
Mm-hmm.
or something like that, and not everybody has that money. So to be able even to just maintain a resident status, to maintain DACA, it's
Right.
really expensive. So hopefully they will aim at, taking some of that burden off, and granting folks citizenship, or maybe getting rid of expensive fees to like continue to be able to go to school because you need DACA.
Right.
So we'll
Eh,
see, but
yeah.
we got to do a lot about it. We have to push them. They're not going to do
Yeah.
anything unless we demand it.
Right, right. And what does your organization and you kind of do to kind of push the administration and lawmakers to, kind of change these rules other than, you can tweet at them and do these things, but what are the actual things that kind of get them to actually change these policies?
Totally. Yeah. So my organization doesn't work on immigration, but I think it's a great example of organizing that does work, because we do push politicians for things like, we were pushing for a moratorium on evictions, and just like, different issues that, like, we think housing is a human right, and like supporting those things. So the way that it looks is, I know it sounds like really underrated, but like calling your local officials, calling politicians, it scares them to be like, oh, people disagree with me. It's unfortunately the way that our politics works. It's like almost like a popularity contest, right? Whose hearts can you win out more? And when people are upset at them, they budge and they respond. So I think, on different issues, like linking up with organizations that are like, calling on like elected officials. Again, I think petitions seem underrated, but they're really powerful. When like a politician sees like, oh shit, 100,000 people like are asking me to do this, and if I don't do it, like what are the consequences of that? I think, other ways in which we affect change is, or like, organizers lobby politicians too. We go and speak with politicians about policies that we think are more in line with people's human rights, and more in line with the values that we think that they, name out loud, but their actions
Mm-hmm.
might be contrary. Um, the way that our organization has like really many multiple like different ways of organizing, but we also go, for example, for our climate campaign, we go a lot to the like annual climate talks with the UN. And we go and talk to government delegates about why we
Mm-hmm.
think it's important to kick the fossil fuel industry out of the climate talks, because they're the ones that have the most to lose, right?
All right.
They're the ones that are deciding how their industry is going to be regulated, even though their industry is the one that caused the problem in the first
All
place.
right. Right.
Yeah, so organizing can look really different, but honestly, it's pressure. It's like, it's moving large amounts of people to say, like, we don't agree with this. We think that this is contrary to our values. And it's putting pressure again on like elected officials to do their job, and for us to empower them to do their job, which is to
Mm-hmm.
represent people.
Yeah, Yadi wrote a nice blog post on kind of writing into
Yeah.
your senator a little bit. You want to speak on that?
Yeah, well, when I interned with Senator Jack Reed, and I noticed that a lot of the letters that were coming in, or the comments from constituents, were being kind of like disqualified or thrown out because it wasn't written in the correct format. So many people don't know that there is a format, right? So it's like, you think you're just gonna write to someone and say, this is my issue, and express and dump all these words on a piece of paper, but if you don't have the correct format, it's not counted. So I definitely saw, the impact of like knowing what to do and how to do it right, and also like you said, the power in numbers. Like if one day we got a ton of calls about a specific issue, the energy shifted to focus on that today. Yeah. So it really is, the power really is in the people, and, reaching out and making sure that you are reaching out in the correct way.
Yeah. Do they answer tweets?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Do they look at all the tweets they get?
They look at the tweets.
Does that count as a letter? I've never. I probably, last time I wrote a letter, I had a pen pal in like 5th grade, 6th grade.
So there's actually a ton of like bots now that write the letters for you. So you can like sign up for these newsletters or there's like a text bot that you could just, I think it's called like text bot or something like that, where you can just say, it formats the entire letter for you. So it says, just write your message and we'll take care of the greeting and, everything, and enclosing it. And you can send it out in a letter, you can send it out in an email, and you can send it out in a tweet. And like just by just texting it with your phone. So there's a ton of like resources out there and stuff, but I think the masses and like people just have a lot of trust issues. They don't know what you're doing with their words. They want to make sure that it's being sent out to the right person. So I really do think that, breaking it down for people, like when I wrote the blog post and like bringing you on and just saying, it sounds very complicated and hard and like daunting, but there are so many resources and so many ways, that organizations are helping us. So we just need to Google a little bit harder, and then we can do our part. So there's no excuses. After this podcast drops, I don't want to hear it. There's no more excuses. Like, don't want to hear it. Nope. We are going to do what we have to do because it's our duty. It's, like I said, it's really, there's so many different options. Like, if you're not a person who's like out in these streets protesting, you can stay home. You can stay home and just call or send a letter or do, donate if you're not a letter kind of person. Right. So, I mean, I think that the work that you're doing is inspiring and so like I said earlier, it's dangerous work. So we really want to thank you and like take this moment to like honor you and shine a light on people like you who, are coming into this industry and this world because of your own experience. It's stuff that is very close, dear to your heart. So, you're doing the work because you want to do it. Like, it's not even like your job, Right. So everybody else, the least that they can do is send a letter. And then Caro got the rest, She'll come and talk to politicians. She'll go to protests. She'll do the rest. We just have to send the letters and donate money, and that's it.
I mean, it's easy. It's as easy as showing up. Like, in whatever way showing up means to you, it's as easy as that.
Real quick, you can plug anything you want. Shout anybody out you want real quick before we jump into some other things. Go ahead.
I had time to think about this, and now I'm like, I had something. I mean, honestly, I just want to shout out like the organization that I work for, Corporate Accountability. I think that so much of what I'm passionate about has really come from seeing what organizing can look like, and seeing just like going to work every day with people that are like passionate about what they do. And I think none of us do it for the money. We do it because we really care. And there's like something really powerful about working with people that are doing it because of that. And then I think the other shout outs that I want to give is Cosecha. It's an organization that represents undocumented folks. Right now they have a fund that you can donate to for undocumented workers that, undocumented folks don't get stimulus checks. They don't get unemployment benefits. So they started a fund for people to donate to for anybody that needs resources that doesn't have a job right now. And then the third is I want to plug in my aunt and uncle. So my aunt works for the National Immigration Law Center, great organization, check out their website. And the other one is the Resilience Force. My uncle Saket, so her partner, Marirena's partner, he works with undocumented folks that do disaster relief. So they it's kind of wild to think about this, but these are folks that after the hurricanes happen in Florida, it's undocumented laborers that go in and clean up people's houses, clean up whole neighborhoods that have been flattened. And a lot of the time they're huge victims of wage theft. They don't have any benefits. So their organization represents folks that are doing that really important work, especially as climate change becomes more prevalent and disasters are like part of our everyday life, unfortunately, now. So check out those 3 organizations: National Immigration Law Center, Resilience Force, and Cosecha. Like folks doing incredible things, and I hope to be working amongst them one day.
And how can our listeners get in touch with you if they want to ask questions or follow up with you or get more information?
Yeah, you can follow me, or you can just like check me out at Caro Carito. I think so. It's, let me look at how you spell. I think you spell it with like 2 O's or something. But you can DM me. I'm like super open to talking with folks. I think, like I said, I'm really passionate about this. As Yadi said, I like don't get paid to do any of this, but it's really like, it's like deep in my heart. It's part of who I am. And I'm so happy to talk with anybody that wants to know more. So my handle is CAROO_CARITO. Follow me, DM me. I'd love to talk with anybody that's interested.
And that's on Instagram?
That's on Instagram, yep.
Instagram, got it, perfect. And we also have a Facebook group, by the way, if you guys want to get in on the conversations we have prior to and after the podcast. We do have conversations. We ask for your opinions. We get feedback. So yeah, if you want to be a part of the show, come on in, join our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/wolf and unicorn. So check us out. We'd love to hear from you. So Caro, your company, your organization you work for, is against corporations doing these shady tactics. I'd like to talk a little bit more about that. What corporations should we be weary of?
Ooh, that's a all of them. Yes.
All of them.
We don't directly challenge them, but I know that this is a really big one for folks. Amazon. Amazon does not pay their workers minimum wage everywhere. Amazon does not give their workers, like, they get in trouble for having 5-minute pee breaks. I think Amazon it's hard to break up with Amazon, I think, but that's like a really big one. ExxonMobil, Shell, these large oil companies, no good, no good. We also challenge like transnational corporations like Monsanto. They're folks just like commodifying agriculture. They're, mass producers of pesticides and all that gross stuff. I know that this also hurts for folks, but McDonald's, we challenge McDonald's in our food campaign for a whole host of reasons, but they have a lot of labor abuses under their belt. Unfortunately, a lot of sexual assault allegations that are just like put under the table. And they're
McDonald's? Come on, bro.
It's disappointing. Crazy. You would think with all the resources they have.
Right. I've never even heard of sexual assault at McDonald's.
Right.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah. And unfortunately, you don't hear about it because they've got massive PR companies that work for them. And it's very easy to slip stuff under the table. Yeah, but McDonald's, unfortunately, is another big one. They also are mass producers of potatoes, beef, and tomatoes. So like factory farming. The reason factory farming exists is unfortunately because fast food corporations have a huge demand for it, that most of it goes to them and the rest obviously like to the US public. But there's a lot in terms of like factory farms and just like the environmental cost of having to grow so much food, having to grow so many cows and all that. Yeah, so those are some of the corporations. I'm trying to think of our other... and we challenged tobacco campaigns like Philip Morris International, really, really shady corporations that have sort of written the playbook for other corporations to be able to get away with a lot of stuff. There's a lot of like political interference. A lot of politicians are in the pockets of a lot of these corporations. Like McDonald's actually was able to drive some of the dietary guideline recommendations for this year's food pyramid. Right.
I saw that actually in an article this week. The scientists said, they wanted to reduce the amount of sugar in food, and the Food Administration was like, oh no, we're not going to do that now. We'll do it another time. But keep things the way they are. Like, why wouldn't you want to reduce sugar in food?
And those recommendations come out every 5 years, so it's going to be a while.
Right. And alcohol, they were trying to reduce. They said they were recommending a reduction in alcohol consumption, which is obvious, but I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're under. I mean, you'd be surprised how many how many front groups there are represent that you think they're like, oh, these are organizations doing really great things, but actually they're like paid for and represent like the food industry. Like Coca-Cola is another one that like interferes in like politics everywhere. Like even in a lot of Latin America, Coca-Cola has large corporations, like large plants where they actually suck a lot of the water resources from communities that they're in. But they're to rent the land that they're on, they pay like next to nothing. They take all the water, and then like the residents are left with what? So there's like so many examples of the ways that corporations manipulate the world that we live in. Like really, it's I don't buy into the like individualistic mindset of like, if you don't want your kids to eat McDonald's, like don't buy it for them. I think that corporations have made it so like people have an affinity to their brands. Like people like, don't think McDonald's is that bad, and they want it to be that way. So I definitely think like food corporations, large transnational corporations, they shape the world that we live in, and we don't name that enough. We don't say it enough.
Right. I'm not gonna lie. Amazon is a big part of my life, and Yadi, tried to break down some of this stuff to me.
Yeah.
Prior to the holidays.
Caro, I'm trying.
I can see. I'm here with you.
It's tough. I went to other places to shop. I've shopped small businesses. I've shopped other large businesses that aren't as bad as Amazon, and the experience is trash. I mean, I hate. I'm a sucker for a great experience.
He is literally the target audience for Amazon.
Oh my god!
Like he when they came up with their like their avatar, their consumer, it was Kevin. Yeah. Like it was him. So it's very hard to like get him to break up with Amazon. Like I'm trying every day, and sometimes you like you said, it's a commodity. Like they shape it so you need it. We do live like in capitalism is the ruler of everything. So like sometimes you do have to kind of like break down and consume these products or like use these apps or whatever. But I think that as long as we're conscious and we're trying, even like just trying to like just be like, yo, what you guys doing? Like, what's going on? Like, hold them accountable.
Yes. And that's the thing. Like, I don't believe in blaming the consumer solely. Like, it's they're not regular. Like a lot of these corporations, like for example, in New York, like how Amazon was going to have that huge plan and they weren't going to pay taxes. It's like, why do politicians allow them to have as much free range as they do? Like, we like you withholding buying from Amazon is like not going to change the company's like structure.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like more than just like being an ethical consumer. It's like actually like naming when they're doing really shitty things, and you're like, I don't want to buy stuff from a corporation that does this stuff. So, but I feel you guys. So many people.
What's your advice for Kevin? I know his heart is like hurting right now. But give him a couple tips. Like how do we get him to break free?
I don't know.
Well, like, what do you buy mostly on Amazon? Like, what's the pull? What about the experience of Amazon?
So, all right. So, Christmas shopping, for one, was, mostly Amazon purchases. I just feel like you can find everything there and get it within a day or 2 days max, like, without leaving your house. It's just, like, so convenient. And then I go to these stores and the cashier is an asshole and the manager is an idiot, doesn't know where anything is. And I'm looking through the store asking for help, begging somebody, please help me. I want to give you my money. And they're just like, nah, I'm going to do my thing over here. I'm just going to text my friends over here in the corner and listen to my favorite song on my other ear here. So,
I feel that. Honestly, you know what works for me? Every time I'm like about to purchase something on Amazon, I just like picture Jeff Bezos, and I'm like, I'm growing this man's pocket, like this bald, ugly ass man. Like, no, like that's the worst customer experience. Thinking of like that old, bald, ugly man. Yes, no.
I think one thing that I like read somewhere, and I've been trying to use like for myself as like a way to like pull myself back is using Amazon as like a guide. So if I go to Amazon and I see something that I want, just seeing, you know, the vendor, do they have their own website, or just kind of see if I can find a similar product somewhere else, or something that is like, you know, sometimes they do. Sometimes these products are on the vendor's like website for the same amount. I mean, you're not gonna get it in 2 days, but it's literally the same amount product, and sometimes it's the same price. Yeah. So I try to use it as a guide. But obviously that doesn't work every single time.
I was just thinking of a funny story.
Yeah, I know what he's gonna say.
We were looking for Palo Santo to, you know, we like to, you know, light it up and then, you know, incense the house and cleanse it of bad energy. So, you know, we ran out recently and we were like, you know, I was like looking for more, like where can we get more? And I was on Amazon, of course, and you know, I
got so mad.
and I was like, sacred thing from Amazon.
A sacred thing.
And I found this store, you know, and I was like, oh look, babe, you know, decent price. Get here tomorrow, and you know we can be lighting our Palo Santo in no time.
Right.
And she was like,
and then what did you show me? Their propaganda.
Yeah.
They had like an ad. They had like an ad of like the people, you know, in the forest, like taking down the trees, and it was like indigenous people, and they were like speaking, like some of them were speaking Spanish or whatever. So it was like, oh my God, like it really makes you feel like this is I need to buy this. This is fine. This is completely ethical.
As I dug deeper, I knew. But I was like, I need to get to the bottom of this just to prove myself wrong. So, you know, she's like, it's propaganda, because the first thing you see is them like picking the Palo Santo from the trees and smiling. And, you know, this, you know, a Latin guy comes on and he's just like, hey, you know, this is our life, our livelihood is how we, you know, come together. And they have like the Spanish music in the background, and it's just like,
oh my God.
It's a whole vibe. And then you look up the company. I was looking like, who owns this company? It took me so long to find pictures of these people, but it was a colorless man.
A colorless man.
Yep.
And I think his girlfriend.
I think she was like, where was she from? She was like Venezuelan or something, but she was definitely white as well. Like she was a white Latina.
Yeah.
So I was just like,
when we found his picture and they were like smiling together, I was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I enraged. I was like, you see what I'm talking about? Like, I was so mad.
I was like, these aren't the people picking the Palo Santo from the trees.
Not.
No, this is not who I. Come on, guys. These people were so hard to find. It took me like 30 minutes. Like their names are everywhere, but you can't find pictures of them. So
yeah. I feel like they probably made it so they probably like get hell for that, which is really so.
Yeah, so that was just a funny story that came up while we're on the topic of Amazon. And
So as you're coming up with your New Year's resolutions tomorrow,
I don't know. I got to think about this a little more. It's, you know,
I'm gonna check this out next year.
We gotta work on them.
I get 5% back on every purchase, so it's like, you know, it's hard to beat that, you know.
This is becoming an Amazon ad, and I don't appreciate it.
I won't tell you everything else that you get with your Prime membership. But
oh my God! At least he's honest.
I know. I'm hooked. Pay the people, Amazon, so I can, you know, support without any shame. So yeah, pay the folks and treat them right. So that's all. You know,
that's literally all people ask for.
Right, drop one of those billion. You could pay everybody. You know.
Right, just drop a couple.
Drop 1 billion, and you could like fund all this great stuff, bro.
This man makes like something like $200,000 sitting down for 5 minutes on his ass. He can pay people more.
Yeah, he totally
just give up a day of work and look how many people you can help.
Yeah, ask
right. That
is right. I'm not a fan of Jeff Bezos personally, but the company just made it so easy to get everything that I need in a timely manner without dealing with people. So, and returning things is so
okay. All right. We're gonna wrap up the Amazon talk.
All right. Caro, thank you again for showing us love today. We appreciate you coming through. Plug your Instagram one more time. We'll put the links in all the descriptions and bios, of course. So let us know where we can reach you.
Yes, Caro Carito.
On Instagram. Check her out. And you got your photography page, too. I checked that out recently as well.
Yes.
You feel free to plug that. You don't have to, you can plug your photography. If you're into pictures, she's got some cool pictures. Check them out.
I'm a little shy about it right now because I'm not like there. I'm a Virgo, so like I have to be like at a level before I'm like proud of something. But you can follow it. Tu Fotografia Film. It's what it's called. Y'all can follow. Give me some love. I'll get better eventually.
No, you will. I mean, I look back at my pictures, 5, 8 years ago, and it's just like, what the fuck was I doing? I was just clicking the button, obviously, because it was
on auto,
and I'm looking at them now, and I'm like, I'm actually getting pretty damn good, Yeah. So definitely practice does make. Nobody's ever perfect. You can ask the best photographer in the world. They idolize somebody else as the best photographer in the world.
Totally.
And we've had photographers on this show, and they're like, no, this guy's the real deal.
Yeah, I'm like...
That person's like, no, this person's the real deal. So I'm just like, where am I? Where do I fall? I think you guys are all the real deal. But that's what they do for a living, so I understand, But, totally. As a hobbyist like me and you, I mean, definitely over time, just keep shooting. And they will
exactly
for sure.
Find new things. Yeah, just go outside. Literally, I just walk outside with my camera, and I'm like, "What can I take pictures of?" Like it's all about practice, like you said.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's jump into a couple segments we have here. We've got shit I don't like. Caro, would you like to participate today?
Ooh, wait, what is this?
Shit I don't like.
Oh yes. Sorry, I did not hear what you said.
All right, Caro, I'm handing the mic over to you. Give us anything that you give you a little anger, a little tingle. What do you want to talk about today?
I don't like Amazon.
Oh no!
I fucking hate Amazon. Okay. I mean, that is shit I don't like. The shit I don't like even more. Oh man, there's so much this year.
Go for it.
Y'all, $600. Come the fuck on. Nobody can live on that. That's what I'm mad about. I'm mad. It's not chill. You can't live on that.
600. I mean, what can you do with that these days?
I feel like we should do like a reality show, like one of those game shows, and like put everyone like, who voted like we should get $600. Like give them $600. See how they do, For like
honestly,
Q1, like, not even for a year, just Q1,
right.
Like the first, quarter of the year. Go ahead, right. Take the 600. See how you
survive off of the 600 here.
You can't even work at a restaurant because they're all closed. Right. So I mean, that's how most people survive is like getting like a second job like at a restaurant.
Yeah,
you can't even do that right now. So why don't you try it out? Let us know how it goes.
Right. If I could opt out, I would. And maybe I'll donate the money to one of Caro's causes, or
there you go,
or that you mentioned earlier. But you want to help people out, of course. But yeah, fuck $600. I mean, people are getting kicked out of their houses and trying to buy food. $600 is like not even a month. I mean, maybe a month of groceries, but not for a full family. That's like it's nothing. It's nothing. So
no, and like for the whole year, come on, we got $1,200 and then nothing, and then $600. That's like the most egregious part. I'm like, people, like you said, people have been like, the amount of homeless folks right now is like upsetting, and not to like get us down on like a really sad note, but like, I mean, come on, people need more than $600. I think it's shitty. It's shitty.
Nothing. So
things we don't need.
Would you like to add anything else? I mean, you could go off if you want. I mean, if you if you got more, it's not a
No, I'm keeping my anger at bay these days. I'm trying to be like more positive and stuff.
Right. I mean, this is the concept of our show is balance. Deep down, underlying, it's all about balance. So we got to get that negativity out. We
must.
But we always.
You're right. It needs an outlet.
You just need it. That's why we're here. That's why we're talking on these mics. We got to get this stuff out. We got to vent it out. It's the only way.
Yes,
that's right.
Yadi, would you like to participate today?
I think I would.
Okay, let's do this.
This is like all of my shit I don't like. It's like I have like a specific, like, not person, but like a specific group of people in mind for this one.
Yeah, yeah. Would you like to say their names?
No.
Okay, all right. Just seeing how messy we feeling today.
No, I'm not feeling that messy. I know we've been watching, Housewives of Atlanta, but I'm not on that level yet.
I love that show so much.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So for shit I don't like, it's like, it's the end of the year. It was a shitty year. It was like, I know, probably like the worst, like in my living, like, 27 years, like I cannot think of like a worst freaking year. Like, you usually have dips, like you have ups and downs or whatever, but this year has completely shattered like all of our like hope and joy. Yep. We are like having to reach and do things to find a little bit of joy. So it's just like so daunting and taxing. So shit I don't like is people who still on top of all of this and the freaking year that we had are like, you know what? For 2021, work harder. If this year didn't teach you how to hustle, then I don't know what will.
Girl,
you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, are you serious? Like, after listen, if you are thinking to like shame people for like not doing anything this year or not accomplishing what you think is success or like accomplishing anything at all, it's like, what kind of shitty person are you? You're either like in a bubble and like completely detached from everything that's been going on in the world, or you're just like a dumbass. Like, honestly, that's what it boils down to. Like, celebrities who are completely out of touch and don't know anything, or like poor people who are like in this with us and are still like, nah, it's your fault. You didn't work hard enough. Like, respectfully, go to hell. Like,
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, so if you tweet any of that stuff, you know what you're talking about. You know what you're talking about. I gotta check the tweets, see what's going on out there in these streets. I'll participate today. Okay. I've been keeping a steady list of shit I don't like, and I read a lot of articles online and news, and Facebook stuff pops up and I click it because I can't help myself. I'm a sucker for clickbait, and I'm an easy target, so I get all type of crazy ads from all this bullshit out there. So I click them. I click some. I read. I like to know what's going on, even if I know it's complete bullshit. I'd like to know what kind of bullshit is being fed to me by the corporations that Caro hates so much.
Yes, that's right. I'm getting
so you. Every now and then you get these articles, and you start reading them. You're reading them. It's going through, and it's like, all right, this is pretty interesting. And then a paragraph just comes, and it's just like the same paragraph you just read, and I'm just like, wait, I know I just read this article, this paragraph. I scroll up, I'm like, it's the same fucking thing. Why do they keep? It's like I read the same thing like 4 times. I'm like, are you kidding me? What's the point of that? What's the point of that? Just to get a couple more seconds of me on your article?
That's right.
Like what? It's been happening more and more. I just don't understand the logic and the point behind it. Like, why repeat the article? Why repeat the entire article over after I just read it?
You got to keep it on that site, baby.
I'm so fucking mad. It just pisses me off so much. No, I'm not gonna go crazy. I won't go crazy today. I'm not gonna go crazy. That's the shit I don't like today. I'm gonna keep it cool, calm, and collective for Caro. Yeah, shit we don't like. All right, let's get into another segment. What do you want? We'll do 25 questions. Okay?
Yeah.
So Yachty will read off 25 questions for you, and you can answer as many as you can in 3 minutes.
So let's just explain the rules first.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a timer for 3 minutes. I'm going to ask you a question. The timer's going to start as soon as I end the first question. And it's kind of like, speed, like just spitball, like whatever you think. If you like to skip or pass, you can do that and we can move on to the next. But we're going to try to get through 25 questions in 3 minutes. All right. So ready?
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you could live anywhere besides Boston, where would you live?
Ooh, Medellin, Colombia.
If you could be any animal in the world, what would it be and why?
Ooh, I'd be an owl. I want to fly. Heard they're knowledgeable.
What is your favorite color?
Blue.
Name a TV show that you've been watched during the pandemic.
Ooh, Searchlight on HBO.
What scares you the most?
Rejection.
Name something that you've tried that you will never try again.
That's a hard one. I like everything. Oh, mondongo. It's a stomach cow soup. It's no, not for me.
Name a book that you would recommend people read.
Ooh, oh my gosh, I've read so many good ones recently. Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler.
Name one thing you can never give up.
Coffee.
If your life were a hashtag, what would it be?
Oh, damn. That's a hard one. I'm a skip. I'm not good with one.
If you had to pick one superpower, what would it be?
Ooh, teleporting.
Black coffee or coffee with creamer?
Coffee with creamer.
Describe your life using one word.
Adventure. An adventure.
Name your biggest role model.
Damn. That's a hard one. I think right now it's my Aunt Marian, the one that works for National Immigration Law Center. The work that she does, I truly don't know how she does it. It's incredible.
If you had to be one cartoon character, who would you be?
God, this like rapid fire. I feel like none of my answers, I'm like, oh, what cartoon character? I'm gonna skip this one.
What is the most useful thing that you own?
Oh my god, useful. My bullet journal. I'm a Virgo.
What is your go-to food spot, and what is your favorite dish there?
Ooh, my go-to food spot. There's this place called Tawakal Cafe in East Boston, and they have this like incredible chicken wrap. It's Somali food. It's like the spices. They hit just right.
What is the first thing you would do if you won the lotto?
I'd pay off my student loans.
What is your favorite season?
Fall.
And what's the closest thing to magic?
Ooh, spirituality.
Awesome. All right.
That is 25 questions with Caro.
She got close.
I'd like to know what character you would be, cartoon character you'd be if you had to choose one.
Couldn't. Ooh, do y'all watch Bob's Burgers?
I don't know.
No.
There's this one that's really funny.
I'm sure some of our listeners might watch it, so that's fine if you
I'd love to be Tina. She's just this like, I think she's a hilarious character, and I see a lot of there's like a fire truck. And she's hilarious. I think she's so funny, but that's hard.
With the glasses?
Yes.
With the glasses.
And she's like got a dancing meme where she's like, yeah.
It just reminds me of my awkward like preteen self. I'm like, oh my god, that was me. I love it. But I don't watch that many cartoons. Well, I haven't seen cartoons in so long.
That's a good one. Tina's good.
Yeah,
that's fine. You don't gotta overthink it,
Yeah.
Just because we didn't see it, I'm sure, somebody has. All right. As you all know, we like to end things on a positive note.
That's right.
Caro, this is your opportunity to give us some type of positivity, some type of inspiration, some type of good word to help our people get through their day, their week, their month, their year, that second, whatever it is. What can you give us?
Positivity. I love this topic. I think, some positivity is that 2020 was like we've been talking. It was like a dumpster fire of a year. A lot happened. But I do have to say, I feel like I've learned a lot about myself this year, and I hope that other people feel like they've been able to learn about themselves. I think something that feels really positive is I've been working a lot on like my spirituality and connecting with my ancestors and connecting with folks that I never really got to know, but it's felt very enriching. And just in general, like sitting with yourself, there's like something really magical about like realizing that you're like one person out of like how many people, and like just like realizing like, oh my god, I'm so grateful I can like like I'm about to go and like eat a charcuterie board with my boyfriend, and like there's nothing more, like I'm so content, I'm so happy, like right now I don't need anything else to be happy. And I think before 2020 had happened, I was focusing so much on material things, and I was focusing so much on like exercise. Like, I mean, I love exercising, don't get me wrong, but like having a great body and like, you know, like buying clothes that were cute. And like, well, I still want to do all of that when like the world goes back to normal, and I still like get dressed up and do my makeup to sit in my living room. I think just like realizing that you can be like really content, and you can like have moments where you're like really present, and you realize like, wow, you know, I really don't have it so bad right now. Like I have people that I really love around me, and a lot of people are having a really difficult year. And I think just like realizing what you have and not taking it for granted. I know it sounds like so corny, but I've just like really been able to be like present for myself. And while emotionally I still feel chaotic, like even just knowing that I can like, you know, at the end of the day, I have like a warm bed to go to, and I have friends that I can call. Like I got y'all, you know, I just like, it's made me realize how many people I have, how much my friends care for me and love me. Like this year, I've talked to more people than I've ever talked to this year. Like I have been in contact with people that I haven't talked to in like a year or two. And like this pandemic has made me be like, wow, people really care about me. Like that's like, I gotta be grateful for that. Mm-hmm. Like I've built some relationships that have really gotten me through this. So yeah, like y'all be grateful for the people in your life. They're like the ones that get you through. And yourself for sure. That's my cheesy positivity.
Thank you, Caro, for that positive note.
I love that sound so much. It's like my spirit.
Yes.
So it's been another Monster Pod, everybody. Thank you, Caro, for pulling up on us and giving us this knowledge on immigration and these evil corporations that I gotta give a little money to, but not all of them. You know, just one. But
we're gonna start a new organization called Kevin Accountability. Instead of corporate accountability, it's like just calling Kevin every Friday at 4:00. We're gonna call him.
If I write a letter to Jeff Bezos, can I order one thing a week?
What are you gonna write? A love letter to him? Like, what kind of letter?
Fuck you, guy.
Like,
I love your I love your products, but fuck you, man. So yeah, it's been another Monster Pod. Caro, thank you for coming through and talking to us and teaching us and giving us knowledge and links, and we will try to put as much as we can to use that you've given us today. All links will be in the descriptions. If you haven't already, check out our website, wolfandunicorn.co. There's a new donate button there. If you'd like to support the pod, support the show, you can donate. You know, we're using the app called Buy Us a Coffee. So it's similar to Patreon. We only got one level right now. We're just going to do $5 if you want to support the show. You get a couple free things. You get a shout out on the pod. You can plug a company as an ad for free. So $5 a month. Check it out. I mean, it's not much. Like I said, it's cheaper than a cup of coffee. So, you know, at least in New York, I don't know about everywhere else. It might be.
Yes.
You know, I've seen Yachty order an $8 cup of coffee one time. So, you know, $5 a month. Support the show if you appreciate our content and want to support us in any way. You can also buy hoodies on that site and a bunch of other stuff you can check out that we do.
Yes.
So yeah, and you could also donate one time if a monthly is not your thing. You're like, oh, I only like this one episode, so I'll give you $1. You can give $5, whatever you want. So we will take anything to support the show. We want to keep making beautiful content for everybody.
Yes.
So check that out. I mentioned earlier, check out our Facebook group. Got a lot of good conversation going on there. So yeah.
Check us out.
Man, appreciate all the love, y'all. Season 3 is going to be awesome. Stay tuned. We got a lot more coming your way. Peace.